Holy Family feast day is particularly special to our St. Mary's Parish family because of the stained glass of the Holy Family in front of the church. On a sunny day, it creates a hologram that when looking from the narthex into the church, the Holy Family appears in the middle of the church. Also, the stained glass side windows depict the life of Mary as wife and mother. The church's intention on this feast day is to present Mary, Joseph, and Jesus as a model for all Christian families. In our first reading from the 2nd century from Sirach, he speaks of reverence for one's parents in words that have a timeless quality. And in our second reading from Colossians, Paul presents practical ways which the bond of love expresses itself within the Christian community, including family relations. Our gospel presents the main theme of this feast day of the Holy Family: faithfulness. The presentation of baby Jesus in the temple by Joseph and Mary signifies their faithfulness to their Jewish faith. By Jewish custom, they went to the temple for two purposes: Mary's purification and the consecration of their firstborn son to God. Then there was the faithfulness of Simeon and Anna, and God's faithfulness to his covenants, fulfilling his promise of the last covenant with Israel with the birth of Jesus. Our theme for this feast day of the Holy Family begs a question of all of us. Are our families faithful to our Catholic faith? The presentation again in our gospel has great theological significance because it represents the junction of the two covenants that God had with Israel: the covenant with Abraham and the beginning of the new covenant, the Messiah, the coming of God's kingdom amongst us, God becoming man. Our Catholic faith has a special devotion to the Holy Family. When you get as old as I am, it's hard to remember anything from your early childhood, but I do remember having to place the initials J, M, J, standing for Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, with a cross over the M on every single paper or drawing from the 1st grade to the 12th grade. This is a symbol for the Holy Family in our school. The Church has always held the Holy Family up as a model for all families. That's right. Can you imagine that? The family with Joseph, the man God chose to be the human father of his son, Mary, the mother of God, who was sinless, and Jesus, the second person of the Trinity, fully human and fully divine. One might think that the Church's expectations are a little high. I don't know about your family, but ours, with Peggy and I, Jimmy, Jacob, and Ellen, we just don't quite measure up. It may help a little if we realize that Joseph and Mary were human beings with feelings and emotions, and that Jesus is both human and divine. How did they handle day-to-day life, decisions, finances, church, work, play? Did they have disagreements? Was Jesus as a child and a teenager, was he compliant, or was he not compliant? Did Mary cook and clean? And how and what did they teach their child? We have very little written about their life as a family, just Jesus grew in wisdom and grace. We have the infants and the youngsters, and then the story of just Jesus being lost for 3 days. There's nothing that was written that happened that would suggest that their life together was not similar to that of an ordinary family of their time. Was the Holy Family's purpose different than that of other families, even families today? I think not. The family is a structure of our creation within which children are born to be loved, nurtured, taught, and grow physically, mentally, in relationship with God, their Heavenly Father. This is exactly what the Holy Family provided for Jesus. As human beings, we are created to live in relationship to each other and to our God. From the family, we learn this. It is the family that can provide the most effective environment in which a child is loved and taught, and in which the child's first relationships are formed. The child learns to accept, respond to, and give love because of its experience of unconditional love from its parents. It is from this experience that as a child matures in his faith, he learns to accept God's unconditional love and respond to it, and then give it to others. It is from the family that a teenager should learn that his life is not about him, but about us. If God and his church are not important to a family, then God and his church will probably not be important to the young adults that are products of that family. Many of the ideas and messages that our children and young adults get from the world we live in run counter to the central tenets of our faith. The competition for the eyes and ears and the hearts and the minds of our children is unbelievable. The noise, access to information, media, TV, movies, internet, smartphone, Twitter, Facebook, and on, creates an environment that our children learn from, that we as parents have little or no control over. What are our children learning? And who are they learning it from? Who's teaching them what's right and wrong? Who and what are they teaching our children in our schools? Who's teaching them about their faith, about God? In the battle over the souls of our children, and it is a battle, the family stands in the breach between good and evil, selfishness and love, and holiness versus idleness. Is your family ready for this daunting responsibility? Here we can learn from the Holy Family. Are we faithful to our Catholic faith? We cannot teach our children what we do not know and live ourselves. Our faith is a spiritual journey. Where are you on your spiritual journey? Does your family pray and read Scripture together? Are our children attending Catholic schools? Or if not, are they attending the religious instruction provided for our children here at St. Mary's? Where on your list of important things is your children's relationship with God? In today's world, we cannot raise our children as we were raised. We have to bring them closer. Listen, communicate, desire to understand what they're thinking. They're such a precious, precious gift. Finally, and most important of all, we must teach our children to love by our love, by our choosing joy, by the way we live our lives, by our example. The world teaches our children that they can achieve being loved, achieve their happiness by how they look, what they have, who their friends are, how much money they have, what job, how successful, how smart are they. Our children are getting their identities from this process of achievement and competition. We know this should not be. We are God's children. That is our identity. If our children are loved unconditionally in their family, then they can grow into the truth of that love and in God's love. Then they will learn of God's love from your love. And they will learn their Catholic faith from you. They are God's children. They need no other identity. God the Father entrusted Jesus to Joseph and Mary. And God the Father also entrusted our children